Hello and welcome to another video where I am going to talk about what I did this week for my Japanese studies. I have been learning Japanese pretty much entirely by myself, self-taught, using the free or very cheap resources that I can find. I don't have a teacher, I'm not following any courses, I don't really learn that way, so some of my learning is a little bit scattered because of that. And I think this is relatable anyways, but for me, learning is kind of hard because I'm always trying to find the middle road where I'm learning the things that I should be learning and not going above where I should be learning and overwhelming myself. And I'm not going too low where I end up getting really, really bored. Like, I can't tell you how many videos I've watched, and don't get me wrong, they're very useful, but the amount of videos that I've watched where they're just going, これはペンです。これは写真です。写真です。Like, I can't, that's so boring. Yes, it is good to learn in a way that a kid would learn, but man, that's boring. I have an adult brain. I don't have the attention span for that. Also, going above where I should be learning and going into anime or vlogs or things where people are talking really fast and using a lot of words that I don't know is incredibly frustrating and so discouraging when you get to a point and you're just like, I don't know any of what's being said, and I feel like an idiot. So anyways, before I get rambling into all of that stuff, things are boring or things are too hard. And I want to find the road where things aren't too difficult or too easy. It's kind of hard to do that when I'm doing everything on my own, but I think I'm kind of finding some stuff. Now, personally, I like to read just in general. So I've been trying to find ways to read a lot of Japanese things, and I found a way to do that. I'm not going to go into the how, but I think manga is a very good source of reading because, of course, there's the furigana, which is the hiragana next to the kanji, which tells you the pronunciation. And, of course, manga also has pictures, which is a really good way to learn something because you can see exactly what's happening. And I think that's really, really nice. I also found this channel. I'm going to recommend it. It's called Yusuke, which is a guy. I guess his name is Yusuke, and his friend. And I haven't watched too many of their videos, but they have like a Minecraft series, and it's just them playing Minecraft, talking with pretty easy Japanese, and they have the vocabulary up on the screen a lot of the time, which is so useful. And yeah, that's just a fun time. So doing stuff like that is a good way, I think, to learn because it's entertaining. It's not over my level and it's not under my level, so that's pretty good. There is another subject that I want to get into. I think I'm going to make another video to talk about this whole subject so I can get deeper into the whole topic, but learning requires you to not translate, but to just understand. That sounds obvious maybe, or maybe confusing depending on whatever, but so let me kind of explain and give you a couple examples of where you would be able to easily understand and not have to translate. So obviously, this is a word everybody knows pretty much, Tokyo. It's a place name. It is the Japanese name. You don't necessarily have to know the in-depth meaning of it. It has the word capital in it, which is cool, just a fun fact. But you don't really need to know all of that. You just understand what it is, and you don't need to translate. You can just understand that that's a place and that's the name. Here's something that you would have to translate when you're learning, which is the word mizu, which of course means water. And to fully understand that and be able to use it in sentences and understand it immediately when you hear it, because if every single time you're trying to translate something, it slows your thought process down, and it's really bad for learning. So every time you hear mizu, you just picture the thing that it is, rather than having to translate, that's water, that's water, that's water. You don't want to translate the English word into it every single time, for every single word, all the time. That just slows you down and is no good. That's all well and good. for objects and places and even names, because I can hear the word Mizu and know what it is. But it gets a little bit more complicated when the words are kind of abstract in some sort of sense. What do you picture in your mind when I say the word if? It's kind of not something you can just picture in your mind. It's not an object, it's a concept. If. How do you picture concepts in your mind? That's when understanding things becomes a little bit harder. You have to translate, of course, to initially understand something, but then to learn and be able to just understand the word. It's a little bit weird when it comes to concepts like that. And I bring this up because this week when I was watching videos and reading, I came across some words that I was a little bit confused by. Tara, nara, and even to and ba, which are all different words that you can use for if. I focused this week on learning tara and nara because they both mean if. I'm not a teacher, so I can't really explain the concept super well, but here's a video that I watched that I thought was really helpful to understand the difference between the two. To give a brief, simple explanation, tara is basically when A equals B, or A is necessary for B to happen. So it's like, if A, then B. Nara is a little bit more like a concept, I guess. A little bit more like, if B could happen if A. It's like could be. It's sort of... It's like it might happen, so therefore B might happen as well. Kind of. That's at least loosely how I am understanding it. I'm still trying to learn those concepts. Yeah, that's kind of the method that I've been using, at least for this week. It's kind of a method that I've already understood is a good way to do things, which is get input, listen to something, watch something, read something, look up a word, or a few words, or a concept like if. How do you say if in Japanese? And then look up that thing, try to understand that thing, and then start to look for it again every time you watch a video or an anime or read a book or whatever. So, yeah, I guess that's what I've been doing. I learned how to say if in Japanese. Wow, what progress this week. No, but I mean, that's not all I've been doing, of course. I'd say this week has actually been pretty good. I've been doing a lot of input. I'm starting to understand a few concepts here and there. I'm starting to pick up on some stuff and be able to look it up and recognize it again when I see it. Which I think is the best way to learn things, is to see it and then start to see it practically used. If you see it in practical use rather than like in a textbook or something, it helps you understand how it's used. And what it means. So, yeah, this week has been pretty good for me. All right, so one last thing before I go. I want to talk about last week's video, which I did practice speaking Japanese in last week's video, and I want to do a lot more of that. I didn't this week just because I just didn't have anything prepared for it, so I was doing all that other stuff. And yeah, I definitely want to do more of that, and I will do more of that. I also think that last week's video is a good like sort of benchmark for in the future to see how much progress I made, because that story that I told, there's a lot more details and a little bit more to that story that I want to tell, and I want to be able to do that in Japanese. So if I'm able to tell that story again in the future and actually tell all of those details that I didn't tell the first time, and of course also correct the mistakes that I made, because even in editing I saw how many mistakes I made. Yeah, but that's just the way that it goes. I think that's also like the way I'm going to be doing that in the future, is doing everything from memory, just kind of talk without really planning too much ahead. Plan what I want to say and then kind of say it in Japanese, but not like translating stuff or writing a script or anything. I think that's kind of defeats the purpose of practically using it, because like the way you want to talk is just from your brain. Yeah, but I don't think I need to elaborate on that. So I'll catch you next week for another update on my Japanese studies. So yeah, peace.